these first couple days, Ra's trying to win it, and then that pushes KT, and he's trying to win it. And I just think that that stuff's contagious, and we need more of that, you know. And I think bringing in guys that are built that way can help train other guys to be that. And I think that's the role that he's playing right now as a leader, is by example. And then I think as a player, I mean, he's very talented. I think the linebackers in this system can be weaponized and can rush blocking schemes and rush the pass and can be really disruptive. And I think he allows you to do that. And then to some of the too high concepts that we need to play, he can go cover people on the perimeter. And I think his expertise in all the varied disciplines allows us to get in and out of things. And I think Ra brings some of that too. And so I think those additions are big ones for us.
Done a really good job schematically.
I do. Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see how with the tablets how strong of a difference it's going to make. In the past, I think I mentioned it earlier when I was speaking, was that it took a lot of pride in our ability to make adjustments and to see what's up from upstairs, what's happening down below. Here's the drawings. Here's how draw it out, correct it. Everyone's seeing it. Hey, we have to make this adjustment, which is helpful when you can anticipate the moves that are coming. That adjustment's that much easier to make, and everyone talks about halftime, but the majority of times this is, if you see it in the first drive, you need to make the correction for the second drive, right? And can you do that fast enough? And I just think some of that could be glossed over now with the ability to look at it, right? But I think still people are going to be stronger with how can they take the video, right, and put together that clip and make it a comprehensive, oh, this is what they're doing. This is their plan, right? This is a breadcrumb, but this is where they're leading. This is their home. And I think that's still the task of the coach. And so I'm looking forward to that. I think with the headset part, way interesting. It's going to be I think offensively they want to hold and not show anything until the very end. I think defensively you want to do that too, because if you show or do anything early and the headset's still on, you give them the opportunity to make a really quick adjustment. And so I think that, as it ties with the clock, is going to be interesting to see how people play it.
Coach the player is
Yes, it'd be Matt Jones, yeah, our linebacker. Yeah.
there's the logistics of it.
Good. I think some of the feedback we've gotten from NFL teams is that one of one of their strengths with the headset is the situationals stuff that comes up. It's like, hey, the very next pass, if it's completed, right, there's no more timeouts. We got to keep everything in bounds. We'll call a defense that sets that and make sure we tackle them in bounds. Don't let them out of bounds. And when you communicate those types of, that's just an example, but communicate that situation to the players. Then you have a hand signal that goes across and everybody knows it. Your situational awareness goes up because you can narrate it. You know what I mean? Whereas before you didn't have that ability. And so I think that will up our situational game, but then others too. And it's who can kind of publish that, who can create a chapter book by it, who can rep the stuff accordingly, right? And so that when it comes to a game, hey, we've repped this a million times, we're good to go. In a new world, right? I think those are the tasks ahead. Yeah.
This year, it's kind of
It can be.
the media have to do the predictions.
It can be really loud. It can be.
So nobody really knows.
It can be when the defense is on the field on a third down. It can be deafening. When the offense scores or it's a big play, it can be electric. I think we got to win to get it that way. I think Baylor fans are going to want to see before they fill the stands and cheer their team on. And so I think the onus is on us to win. Yeah.
Pushing towards Dallas late.
Yeah, tough, um, reliable, consistent. Um, when you think of
Well, there's
coach,
a long history.
their
Some
system
drivers
and their
on
play
one side or the
is an
other.
illustration of that.
We've had two
I
wins
think they might be
since the
one of the
50s. Both
strongest that
188,
way.
Coach Nealon.
And
Some
so
really
I
good
think
teams that, as you
playing
can say,
there
this is the first
this year
time
is going to be very
that
difficult,
Penn State's been ranked
very
down
difficult
there a long
task.
time.
They're tough to win.
And
It's
it's
tough to
the
win
big noon
there,
kickoff.
and
We got the big noon show there.
we're
And so,
excited for that opportunity. But I
Green
have
Bay's
great
always gonna be
respect
excited for game one.
for
The
Coach and a
fact
lot of
that
his
it
defensive
is the
beliefs,
big
I
noon
believe
kickoff,
too.
the fact that we had
Yeah.
their crew there for the big noon show. Huge opportunity. Huge challenge. Huge
I think
opportunity for us.
the care factor with our guys, I think it really matters to them. And then I think, we're really pushing coaches hard to get it right. And so I think there's a lot of confrontations, off the field and on the field to get it right. And I think
Yeah, I just think that
those things
you
are
use it as
happening way
motivation.
more than they did in
Hey,
the
this
past.
is
And so
where
it's a
they
big
see you,
difference.
so you can either prove them right or you can
Yeah.
prove them wrong.
Yeah.
This year, I'm more disappointed because I believe our best player. A ton of talk about the
Yeah.
quarterbacks, but you don't hear Garrett Green.
It'll be
And if you look at
it'll
his
be
numbers,
interesting. I used to
and you just put
pride
his numbers
ourselves on
compared
our
to some of the other guys that
adjustments.
we talk about,
And
like his would be really
in a way, it
good.
almost cheapens
And so
that,
when you talk about Wagner,
right? It almost
I
cheapens
really
it.
feel like he's got
And
two
so,
best tackle
it used to be when guys were coming out to play football, they would watch football games. I don't know. They would watch the game. They would be fans of the game. I think we've got some players now that don't ever watch football. You know, maybe they'll play the video game. I think they'll probably do that, but they won't actually watch the game. You know what I mean? And so it's just things change, man. It's different, And so the coaches that could be on the sideline and see a blocking scheme or see a coverage and 22 guys are all like this and they got it like that and make the adjustment and this isn't what we practice but this is a change and they're doing it for this reason, right? Or they're doing it versus this look or that. That was a skill. That was a competitive advantage. And I'll be interested to see if that's eliminated now. I th- uh-huh. Yeah, well, that's the new challenge now, is that, and so I think that, well, let me say this. The challenge is to not lose, so like we can figure out, hey, they pulled the center instead of pulling the guard, or they're going to run to the three, but now they're running to the bubble. So we can see that on there, but then the thing that there is hey, put it all together until this is where they're going. The whole thing is where's their home, right? If they're just making a pit stop here, right? Or if they're just driving through, it doesn't really help us to know that, hey, they drove this way, right? So they took 35. We want to know where they're going to park their car because we want to get it home before they do. So that's the goal with figuring all that stuff out, right? And so I think you got to keep it that way, the emphasis on that. But then I think there's a whole system now. There's a whole organization and a whole utilization of your people to make sense of the tablets, make sense of, hey, I saw this. So there's a D-line guy that sees it, and he's going to draw out all the blocking schemes, and he's going to draw out all the pass blocking schemes. Then we got a DB guy that sees it, and he's going to draw out all the routes. That's different. What was that? It was versus single high versus two high, and then we got to be able to put it together. And so I think there is that. There's a bit more of an ask that way, whereas before you could have one guy that could see it and put it together. Now it's like a whole army if everybody's got to do their thing. Yeah, he's a great example of that. Yeah, and I think it's happened before him too in our league. I think if there's a league where that's going to happen, we're in it. I think we've done some of that too, both ways, up and down. Based upon predictions. And so I just think My confidence comes from the players that we have and their will to win. I mean, they're in it to win it, and then the staff that we got around them. Um, I think they're fully invested. When the new staff, they came in knowing kind of, hey, we got to get this going, and so they're fully invested too. And so when you have some of a 4th and 1 type mentality every day, it can be a positive. Yeah. Thanks.
First play of the series. Red zone touchdown percentage.
He was at Tulane when I was at LSU, and so we'd see each other at camps, and then staff-wise, there's a bunch of coaches there that ran similar defense to what we run, and so we'd always kind of visit and talk and everything. So always very respectful and all of that, and just admire just his ability to turn programs around and have success. And he does it in a real class way. And so from afar, I would say, have a lot of respect for him. Yeah. You talking about just out-of-state schools recruiting in-state schools? Yeah. Yeah, I think prior to them coming in the conference, for sure, they were already recruiting Texas, and now it's just only more upped. Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a good thing, though. I think it's the more talent that comes into the league, the more ability we have to play to win games later in the season, right? So if a team comes in and their talent is upped, that forces the team that's in the state to up their talent and out recruit them and all of that. And so I think all of that is good for the league. But then I do think it gives us the ability to be the home team for the kids in Texas, and like, hey man, why don't you come? Do you want to travel however many hours and go here, or do you want to travel 30 minutes and watch a game over here with your family with you and all that? And so it gives us the ability to do that. Yeah.
First of all, large high school, Pittsburgh area.
Where you see that, is it reminiscent of teams you've been a part of in the past? Or does it feel kind of unique?
No, it would be. I think the trick with having an edge is that you're also I've been on teams that have a lot of edge in the past, and they just didn't have a whole bunch of other stuff outside of that. And so on the field, they could work out and make plays and do all of it, and off the field, it didn't maybe have the growth that you always wanted. Maybe you didn't have the care factor for maybe school and all these other things. And so to have those things, right, on top of or along with an edge, the edge for football means that, hey, football is important. And so the trick is like, hey, I want to, my faith's important. School's important, I have varied interests, but I'm going to be fully invested in football. Those are almost two things at the opposite end of the thing. They got to hold both at the same time. That's the edge that we would have. I've been at spots before where there wasn't really much of this, but football was their way out. So there's a lot of edge there. Does that make sense? Yeah, and so to be able to have both is the challenge for us. Yeah. Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm curious about Jersey.
Yes.
You've only got one player that's a single.
Yeah.
I know that was
Yeah.
for the team you guys predecessor.
Yeah.
Is that going to continue? Or are you going to have?
We are, yeah. We're going to choose those and do all those at the end of the summer. Yeah, so I think a couple guys are doing some media stuff here at the end of summer, and they may have some new, jersey numbers when we get back for fall, but I think they'll all take it because they're all wanting certain numbers, so yeah.
Players and fans.
Yes. Okay, thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.